Fazza was not born different, but he refused to remain the same. In a world where most people quietly accepted the limits placed around them, he carried a restless energy that refused to settle. It wasn't loud, it wasn't obvious, but it was there burning deep inside him like a silent fire waiting for its moment. While others were busy fitting into expectations, Fazza was busy questioning them. While others followed paths already made, he stood still, observing, thinking, preparing to create his own. From the outside, his life looked simple, even ordinary. But inside, something extraordinary was taking shape, something that would one day break every boundary he had ever known. The early days of his journey were not filled with success or recognition. They were filled with discipline, loneliness, and quiet battles no one ever saw. He understood something very few people realize at a young age, that greatness is not built in public, it is built in silence. So he trained himself, not just physically, but mentally. He learned to control his thoughts, to stay calm under pressure, to move with purpose even when everything around him felt uncertain. Every morning before the world woke up, Fazza was already ahead, working on himself, building a version of his future that didn't exist yet. There were moments when doubt tried to creep in. Nights when the silence felt heavier than usual, when progress seemed invisible, when the question "is it worth it?" echoed in his mind. But Fazza never allowed doubt to stay for long. He didn't fight it with words, he defeated it with action. Every step forward, no matter how small, was his answer. He didn't need motivation, because he had something stronger: vision. And vision doesn't disappear when things get hard. It gets sharper. As time passed, the world around him continued moving at its usual pace, but Fazza had already stepped into a different rhythm. He no longer measured success the way others did. It wasn't about money, attention, or approval. It was about growth. It was about becoming stronger, wiser, and more controlled with each passing day. He built habits that most people avoided, faced challenges most people feared, and embraced discomfort like it was part of his identity. Because to him, comfort was the enemy of progress. One day, everything changed. It wasn't because of luck or coincidence. It was because all those silent days of preparation had finally aligned into a single moment. An opportunity appeared, one that most people would hesitate to take, one that carried risk, uncertainty, and the possibility of failure. But Fazza didn't hesitate. He stepped forward without fear, not because he was fearless, but because he was prepared. And in that moment, he realized something powerful: opportunities don't create greatness, they reveal it. That decision became a turning point. From that day on, Fazza was no longer just someone working quietly behind the scenes. He became someone who moved with intention, someone who made things happen instead of waiting for them. People started noticing. Not because he asked for attention, but because his presence demanded it. There was a calm confidence in him, a quiet dominance that didn't need to be announced. He didn't speak too much, but when he did, his words carried weight. But with growth came new challenges. The higher he climbed, the more resistance he faced. Not just from the outside world, but from within. Expectations grew heavier. Pressure became constant. Mistakes became more costly. There were moments when everything he built felt like it could collapse with a single wrong move. But this is where Fazza was different. He didn't run from pressure, he embraced it. Because he understood that pressure doesn't break strong people, it shapes them. There were nights when he stood alone, looking at the world he was building, questioning not his ability, but the responsibility that came with it. Success is not just about winning, it's about carrying the weight of everything you've built. And Fazza carried it with strength, even when it felt heavy. As the years passed, his life transformed in ways that once felt impossible. The same person who once walked quietly through unnoticed streets was now creating impact, influencing lives, setting standards. But he never lost himself in it. He never became arrogant, never forgot where he started. Because he knew something many successful people forget: your roots are what keep you grounded when everything else rises. Fazza didn't chase validation. He didn't need applause. His satisfaction came from progress, from knowing that every day he was becoming better than the version of himself from yesterday. He wasn't competing with others, he was competing with his own limits. One evening, as the sun set and the sky turned into shades of gold and fire, Fazza found himself standing at a place that once felt out of reach. The view in front of him was not just a symbol of success, but a reminder of every struggle, every sacrifice, every silent battle that brought him here. And in that moment, he realized something deeper than success. He realized that living beyond ordinary isn't about achieving one big goal. It's about a mindset. It's about refusing to settle, even when you've already achieved more than most. It's about staying hungry, staying focused, staying disciplined, no matter how far you've come. A young man once asked him, "What's the secret to your success?" Fazza didn't answer immediately. He looked at him, as if measuring the weight of the question. Then he said, "There is no secret. There is only a choice. A choice to push when it's hard, to continue when it's boring, to believe when it's uncertain." Most people don't fail because they can't succeed, they fail because they stop. That answer spread far beyond that moment. It became a message, a mindset, a way of thinking that inspired others to look beyond their own limits. Because Fazza wasn't just living his life, he was showing others what was possible. And yet, even after everything, he didn't stop. Because for Fazza, there was no finish line. There was only forward. Every new day was another chance to grow, another chance to improve, another chance to push beyond what he thought was possible. He didn't fear the future, because he knew one thing for sure: no matter what came next, he had already built the strength to face it. And that's what made him different. Not talent. Not luck. not circumstances, but mindset. Because in a world full of ordinary people living ordinary lives, Fazza made a decision that changed everything. He chose to live beyond ordinary. And once that choice is made, there's no going back. This channel is all about poetic stories and emotional content inspired by Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Fazza, the Crown Prince of Dubai. Here, you will find deep poetry, love stories, and powerful lines reflecting his royal lifestyle, silent strength, and emotional side. Backhand index pointing right. Please like and share and subscribe my channel for more beautiful poetry and poems. Red heart. Thanks for watching my videos.